Episode 13, CineNerds.
Lucky number 13.
Lucky. Yeah, I don't know about all that.
Lucky.
We're going to find out here in a minute. I'm James.
I'm JP.
And I'm Ryan.
He forgot who he was.
No, I didn't. The way you said JP, I don't know why. It made me laugh. I'm JP. Hello. It's like Yogi
Did he ask
Bear.
with a question mark?
It was.
JP?
No, it reminded me like Yogi Bear. Like, hey, boo boo. I'm JP.
Oh man. Well, we did JP's pick today.
And I chose the prequel, Prey, which is a prequel to Predator.
Correct. Cool.
I don't know what you're looking at me for, because
Well, let's get back to the roots of this. What was your initial thoughts on your first viewing? Because this is the first time he ever saw
started
this.
super slow. I got super bored. I skipped the whole middle and just went to the fight scene, and that's all I needed to see to know what was going on.
I just feel like you're completely wrong there, but
That takes away the whole point of what we're trying to do. You got to watch the whole film.
I understand
entirety.
that. But
So, have you seen any other Predator films? Let's
Nope.
start with that.
Nope, and that's the thing. We talked about it, depending on in what order you release things. I'm not a big alien guy. I'm not a big I'm tired of hearing in horror movies and alien movies. I'm tired of it's
very
all,
specific to Predator, though.
that I
one.
understand, but as a whole, I'm sick of it. It's got to be a new way of doing it.
In this franchise,
In this,
if
I
it's
understand.
not broke, don't fix it.
It's just. Not for me. It was boring. I was here we go again. Another girl that they're trying to hold down because she's a girl, but she's got a gift. And that's just how I felt about it. That's just how I felt about it.
So you don't empower women. Okay.
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying I'm tired of seeing that same storyline, though. I think anybody can do anything.
I feel like they do it differently in this movie. It is very female driven,
which I'm perfectly fine with. I need to put that out there since you did that. Now I have to say that I'm perfectly fine with that. I just felt
totally.
like
I was
I've
just having fun
watched.
with you.
I just felt like I've seen this before.
So
I have seen this whole thing before.
My thing with this is it is very female driven. It's very female empowering. However, it's not. I don't feel like this movie shoves it in your face.
No, not at all. But I've just already seen it.
It's very tasteful. It just shows that this girl is a badass.
The only thing that I thought was cool, and I was like, I wonder if she really practiced that, was when she hooked the rope to the thing and kept going back and forth with it. I was like, that's actually pretty badass. Otherwise, and again, I'm not taking away from who can do what and this and that. Don't misconstrue it. Don't be an asshole. I'm just saying in general, I have seen this movie at least 10 times.
So I chose this movie because there's two of my favorite films of I think have come out in the past 10 years, like more recent films that I think are just top notch is Prey and Fury Road. Both have amazing female characters.
They're executed well. And I chose this movie because I honestly thought you would enjoy it. I tried to choose something that I love. I actually thought
I
you would
did the
have
same
too.
for you with Summerland, and I failed. So, you know, we're on the same playing field still.
Yeah.
The only thing we can agree on is...
I Heart Huckabee suck.
I guess the only thing you and I can agree on is that the party animal sucked. So there's that.
So far,
I even tried to be nice when I gave my ratings on that and everything for you.
So I am the only one that hasn't picked a movie yet that the both of you have hated.
Well, we know you're sensitive. We don't want you to cry.
No.
We don't have that many tissues here. The fact that you fast forwarded though does take away a lot of things.
That's how much I couldn't. I'm like, I'm not doing this again. Like, I just got to the point. I'm like, I'm not watching another movie.
Did you see the bear scene?
Yes. I maybe skipped 20 minutes.
So
Because I to give you credit, just so you understand, I did go whoop, and then I went. I think I need to go back a little bit. Like I did go back. I didn't just. I was like judging by where we were. I was like, oh, okay, yeah.
You know what really pains me is you skipped through a lot of Prey, but you watched all of I Heart Huckabee.
Oh no, I didn't. I fell asleep.
Oh
twice,
yeah, that's
remember?
right. You fell asleep.
Like, I'm just being honest at this point. I'm not trying to like sugarcoat shit. I mean,
let's focus, guys. So back to what you were saying as far as the woman aspect. So this movie is filmed in the 1700s. We are dealing with the Comanche tribe. So yes, women have always been usually slated behind men in these eras in certain roles. Well, I'm just saying, especially with the tribe, though. Especially with the tribe. Woman's place was not hunting. It wasn't doing anything like that. It was staying back, preparing the meals, children, all those things. So this is a time where she's trying to be different, trying to stand forward and be... And so that's why I did appreciate how they delivered this, because she was out... When she's supposed to be foraging or hunting, she was more out training. She was teaching herself these tactics so she could do one of the big hunts and do these things to prove herself valid to her tribe. Now, to your point, though, you're right. There is a formula that's being really beaten in the ground right now, and I feel like it's dividing us into a horrible era of Marvel, for instance. Marvel will not stop putting the women as a women, like even the Marvels. I couldn't get behind the Marvels. I tried. I was definitely on board for it. I thought it could have been done well, but the agenda they're pushing, it's missing the mark, because a movie like Guardians of the Galaxy succeeded. You've got a team that's well balanced. You've got women and men, and you've got heroes in all of them, and so it comes together nicely. When you're forcing a female fronted agenda, if it's not done well, like Prey did, then you have the problem of keeping most of your audience's attention, and that sadly most of that audience is male. So it's I feel like Hollywood's missing the mark here. I don't feel like they're delivering well in that regard. But this movie did it right, to me.
Yeah, to me, it's awesome, and
I just felt like it was slow in the beginning.
I mean,
it was to me it's the same thing. It was like, okay, she wants to go out. No, you can't go. Okay, let her go. Okay, and then it was almost it gave me the vibe of Avatar at the end when it was just like in and out, back and forth, same thing, back and forth, and it just got to the point I'm like, oh, I don't want to do this anymore.
Well, she goes back out, and like all the women are walking to the. To do their daily duties, and she's walking past them, and they're all just kind of looking at her, and she's like, I don't care. I'm going to go do this, and she ends up going, and they're hunting a mountain lion or a jaguar or something.
They said it was a lion.
But it's America. It was like a mountain lion. Yeah. But they go out tracking this mountain lion, and her brother's out there. They have a whole team of hunters to track down this mountain lion that had attacked one of their own. And during the midst of this, she sees before this, she actually sees the alien ship coming in from overhead. But when she goes out hunting this mountain lion, she starts seeing traces. She starts seeing footprints. She's like, there's something else out here. It's not a mountain lion.
That footprint she finds, the initial one, is fucking massive in the way that she instantly, she's like, that's not right. Something's wrong.
Yeah, she takes a stick and like puts it down to it and breaks it. And like the stick is like, 2 feet long.
I did see that.
But
James ran outside and grabbed a stick, and he instantly broke it down to this much, and he put it next to...
It's too cold for that.
Well, they end up finding the mountain lion, and she gets hurt. They take her back. The brother goes back out. He shows back up with the mountain lion's head. And everybody's cheering him on. The whole tribe's dancing and cheering him because he's a great warrior. And at that point, you see the predator again, like the following day. You see a snake attack a rat. Then you see the snake actually stop and because it knows the predator is there, and goes to attack the predator. It stabs it. And I read a little fun fact on that they added. That was one thing they added in because snakes can see heat signatures, kind of like the predator. Mm-hmm. So the snake could actually see that he was there.
Which I found that scene interesting because, to me, Predator's whole point is to he's a hunter, but he's hunting larger prey, and I didn't see the snake being a worthy thing for him to stop and collect.
No, but what I saw, my takeaway was as she ends up leaving, the main girl, she ends up leaving because she's like, there's something else out here. I'm going to track it. I'm going to find it. But during this time, the predator he's attacking. There's a wolf that is. Was he attacking a rabbit? Was he chasing? He was chasing a rabbit.
Yeah.
To me, the predator was going after things that were predators. And that was my takeaway.
Yeah. No, I mean definitely that vibe,
Yeah.
but to the point of the snake being so small, I was a little puzzled. But now you reference other Predator movies, and you see the trophy wall, though, so that maybe that snake is a valuable trophy. I don't know.
Well, and that was kind of my takeaway was he was going after other predators, and I get where James is like, it's slow, but it goes through this whole spiel of her figuring things out. You know, she gets trapped in quicksand. She, like he said, she goes out hunting for rabbits. She keeps missing the rabbits. Well, then she ties a rope to her tomahawk and starts throwing it and pulling it back like scorpion style. And then the next scene, you see her with a whole shoulder of dead rabbits, where she had caught them after she figured that out. She was going through the steps of figuring out how to be this great warrior, because she was smart, but she just wasn't putting it all together.
Right.
But you know, the slow period that kind of James was talking about was her putting all these things together throughout the movie. And her tribe kept saying, well, you know, it's a bear, it's this. And she's like, no, it's not a bear. Well, she ends up running into a bear. And she runs and hides from it. And the bear, which that scene is so...
That scene's brutal.
It's so good.
Yeah.
With the predator shows up and starts fighting the bear, and
she's in the beaver's dam hiding.
Yeah,
that was good.
They're going toe to toe and just beating the hell out of each other. Then all of a sudden, you see the bear like lifted up and blood just running down over his cloak to where you can actually see the blood-soaked predator. There's so many scenes like that was just, I don't know. I generally just loved this whole movie.
So, for those of you who are new or haven't seen the Predator franchise, the Predator franchise is one that's worth a deep dive if you like good action films, if you like good sci-fi, whatever the case. The first Predator, we all should know by this point, Arnold Schwarzenegger was the main, and went from there. You had Carl Weathers, rest in peace.
Jesse Ventura.
The
sexual Tyrannosaurus.
And you know what I found funny in this is what was the Indian's name?
Billy.
Billy. So Billy in the first Predator was a Comanche Indian, and this whole film focuses on the Comanche tribe. And I'll just elaborate a little further on that beyond the Predator aspect. I got to give Hulu and the company that produced this movie a lot of credit. I am Lakota Sioux. And very, very little bit. I know Custard messed us up. And it's what we are now. But anyways, the main actress, Naru, the character Naru, the main actress, her name's Amber Mid-Thunder. And she's actually a Sioux native, but she played a Comanche actress in this situation. Now, the Comanche language is an option for Hulu in this. You can watch the entire movie in Comanche.
They filmed two different versions of this movie, one in English and one in Comanche.
And I think that is... epically huge. A step forward as far as indigenous people, natives, all that fun. But that aspect aside, I'll get back to the Predator franchise. The Predator franchise has been rooted in a lot of ups and downs and positives and negatives. The first two were spectacular. The ones that followed, some of them were questionable, but I liked it because I like seeing the story as it unfolds. This really takes it back a little bit, and there's a lot of little Easter eggs that are kind of fun in this.
Yeah. Well, and she ends up jumping ahead, just kind of move things along. She runs into the French
Fur traders.
Yeah, the fur traders, the French trackers or whatever. They have her brother. They cage her up. They know a predator. They know something is out there. So they're planning on trying to figure out how to kill this thing, what he is, where he is, how to track him. So they tie her and her brother up to a tree, trying to lure the predator out. But she had already figured out that if you're not a threat to him, he's not going to attack you. And so as these French trackers or fur traders are trying to lure him there, there's a couple of them talking. Then you see in the background just heads being tore off of all their friends just getting murdered behind them while they're waiting on the predator. But he's killing them all from behind. Then it gets into a really badass fight scene. Shows the brutality of his primitive predator weapons. He don't even have the weapons like we're used to in the Predator movies with the laser shoulder gun.
Well, they did have that, but
he has the tracker, but he's shooting arrows.
So interesting you bring that up. So do you remember the movie Predators, where we first time in a movie we see the two different species of predators?
Yeah,
I think it was the other species that this predator was that came back.
It could be
because he's larger. He seems like he's more primitive, like the other ones were. So I'm wondering if that was what the intention.
I know they called him a feral predator. Was what they were calling him, or the director, or what they called him. So
the bone mask was
amazing. Great. So they get loose. They go back to the camp. She gets her dog, which I haven't even mentioned the dog. The dog's throughout the whole movie with her. And a fun fact about the dog was not a trained dog. They did you know this?
No.
They were looking for a dog that was period accurate. And so they found this dog. They couldn't find any that were trained. They found this dog at a shelter. They got this dog out of a shelter and brought him onto the set and used him in the film, throughout the film. It was a shelter rescue.
Did who took the dog?
Somebody, I did read someplace that I don't remember who took the dog, but
that's awesome.
But somebody there had adopted the dog. So the dog actually left a shelter to play this part in the movie and then got adopted.
Now, I got off on the first Predator movie, but I'm not. Okay, let me rephrase that. I got off topic when I was talking about the first Predator movie, and I feel it's important to talk about the Predators and what their agenda is, what they do. So they are a alien species who thrives for the hunt. So they want to hunt anything that is big game to them. And I'm breaking this out because James hasn't seen the Predator franchise before, and I feel it's important to understand it before you go into it.
Do you think I'm listening?
Yes. It's. I digress. I'm going to leave you alone. Anyways, so the predator species, though, it's almost like a rite of passage for them to get dropped off on different worlds, alien worlds, and find the largest thing they can to hunt, the biggest apex predator, hunt that species, and then keep them as trophies, whether it be their skulls, bones, whatever the case. That's what you see the pattern of in all these movies. The first one was in a jungle. The second one was in New York City.
L.A.
Was it L.A.? Why did I think it was New York City? You're right. Now that I'm remembering that.
It's because of the subway scene. Because there's no subways in L.A., but it was in L.A.
Okay.
How are you finding problems with this movie?
Well, hey, that's you can do that all you'd like. But what I did, reason I want to talk about the Danny Glover one was at the end, there's a cool thing that happens. So in Predator 2, there's a fight scene that happens on the Predator ship. And he fights the Predator that's been stalking them through the city and causing all the issues. And he wins. And all of a sudden, once he wins, the rest of the Predator crew appears. Because they all have a camouflage stealth that they can turn on and turn off. When this happens, you see the leader kind of come forward. He's got this like gray, like very distinguished, wonderful gray about him. I just want to point out that it's distinguished, as your wife told me earlier. So he hands him a flint pistol, and it's got a year on it. And is this the same pistol?
It's the same pistol
that she gets at the end of the fight.
Yeah.
At the end,
yeah.
So I found that very, very interesting because I want to know how that transition happened back.
Yeah, it's going to have to happen, but and I did read the director, and there's been stuff released here recently that the director is supposed to be working on another one called, was it Badlands or something? There's a new Predator movie he's working on. It's supposed to be a different time period. But I also read that he is also working on Prey 2. So I'm assuming...
There's a sequel to Prey that's coming out, and then I've heard two different rumors. I heard one that was going to be set in Japan, and I heard one about World War II.
I've heard both of those, too.
I'd like either one of them I'd like to see.
So I'm assuming when Prey 2 comes that pistol's going to end up going back, be gifted back somehow.
Right.
So
anything, James?
Let's get closer to the end of the movie. We're right at the end talking about it. Anyway, she ends up fighting the Predator. She sets up these traps and lures the Predator in with one of the French guys. She cuts his leg off and lures him in. She figures out that this medicine that they use lowers your body temp, and she realizes that's how the Predator sees is body temp. So she lowers her body temp to where the Predator can't see her. So she fucking bashes him or shoots him in the back of the head. Shoots him in the back of the head and
knocks the mask off a little bit. Yeah.
They get into a fight. They brawl. Well, she takes him all through these things that she had already endured with like the quicksand and things of that nature. And fucks him up. I mean, as initially, and then she shows back up at her tribe, like her brother, holding the head. She puts the Predator's green blood all over her face, and that's kind of the gist of the movie, you know.
And a wonderful movie it was.
It is. It's such a good movie, even though James hates it.
I hate it.
I mean, we all like what we like, right? We talked about this before. It's tastes and
right.
His taste.
I mean, I just feel like I've seen the movie before. I get why you guys like it because you guys love the Predator, and so anything involving the Predator is like, ooh, yay, you know.
Not really. I've hated a lot of those movies.
I just feel like I've seen this movie in different ways so many times. Even the brother dying, I've seen that. You don't want you don't want that. You don't want the dog to die, or you don't want, like, at least the dog lived in this one. But you know what I'm saying though. Like, it's like, like this is the fight where they're gonna kill the guy you want to live, you know, and it did. You know, he shreds him.
Well, her brother even says, like, this is where my story ends.
Yeah, but it's like, it's just, I'm just saying, I just feel like I've seen this movie at least 10 other times in 10 other films. Can I name them off the top of my head right now? No. And if I find one, if something comes to mind, I'll tell you. But I just feel like I've seen this before.
So, Dark Horse Comics did a variant of the Predator franchise by going for the jugular, Aliens versus Predator. So when that happened, I instantly was following the comics. I thought the comics were amazing. They released the first film, and you might disagree with me on this, but I thought the first one was great. I was super pumped about it.
It was okay.
I thought it was great. I liked the historical context.
I was super pumped too because I'm a huge Xenomorph fan. I'm a bigger Alien fan than I am Predator fan. I was super excited, but
I will say that was my favorite part of the ride, the Great Movie Ride at Disney.
Alien.
Because it came out of the wall, and then like it came out. And I remember being a kid going like, "That's cool," but I've never seen them.
The Alien. I was super psyched for the Alien versus Predator movie, and I think I hyped it too much in my head because when I watched it, I was just like, "It's good, it's okay, it's not great, but it's okay." Now the second one, trash.
Completely agree. The first one, though, let me talk about a little bit why I like that one. That one, they used historical context with the Aztecs, the Mayans, and they made it so that these people worshipped essentially the predators and the aliens, and they would let these aliens breed in a chamber to release them for a hunt where the predators would come down in mass, and they would just live for the hunt of these xenomorphs. And I thought that was awesome. I thought that was a great way to stream that storyline and get it going. Part 2, when they did the hybrid of the two, that was one of the worst. You know what that reminded me of? It reminded me of a current version of, which was it, Deep Star 6 or Leviathan, with that horrible, when it came up above the water and it came to get them in the raft.
I think that's Leviathan.
It's Leviathan, but that creature reminded me of the same creature they used for the hybrid xenomorph predator. And I just couldn't get past that. The whole rest of the movie, I'm looking at this bulky thing that's trying to be a predator or alien, whatever it was, and the story sucked. Everything sucked about that.
Yeah. Now, for me, the first two movies were fantastic for different reasons. I know a lot of people hated on the sequel when it came out, but the sequel's so good. The cast is great. You had Danny Glover. You had what's his name that passed away a few years ago, played in Twister.
Game over, man. Game over.
Yeah.
Bill Paxton.
So, I mean, I love the cast, and Bill Paxton was great in Predator 2.
He was great in Aliens.
Aliens.
Everything he did.
Alien vs. Predator, I enjoyed it. Alien vs. Predator 2, trash. I have a very unpopular opinion. I really love Predators.
I didn't mind it.
With Danny Trejo and
Adrian Brody,
and what's his name from that '70s show?
Topher Grace.
Right. That movie, I love that movie. Now the last one, The Predator, fucking trash.
I don't know if
absolute trash.
Did I see that one?
It's the one that it's PG-13. Pretty sure it's PG-13. There's not really any gore in it. It's more action. It stars the guy that played in Logan, played in one of the main bad guys in Logan with the guy with
I know
the
what you're talking about. Yeah.
He was the main guy in it, and Thomas Jane has a role in it.
Okay, I think I do remember this,
but
I didn't mind it.
It's trash. I hated it.
I think I do remember. I remember the apartment scene where they start finding stuff like stuck in the ceiling and stuff. I think I do remember that now.
I did read that they was originally going to market this movie Prey with the release of the movie The Predator, and the director came out and said he's really glad they didn't because The Predator was trash. He even said like the Predator was trash. He said, "I'm glad my movie was not promoted with this one." But he originally, and he said that he wanted all the trailers just to follow this Comanche girl and didn't want to even show the public that this was a Predator movie. He didn't want to show the Predator that was a Predator movie in the trailer at all.
Interesting. Okay.
So, but I'm pretty sure the studio's the one that
you gotta have some element.
You gotta have some.
Yeah.
They're wanting to make money.
Like, even if they didn't, like, I think that, to me, a perfect ad for that would have been, she's going through the hunt of an actual, like, an animal, whatever it is. She's going through the hunt, and then at the end of the commercial or trailer or whatever, you just see the sight lines from the lasers, and that's all you see.
Yeah.
And even that would have been great.
Alrighty. What you got to say, James? You
got
something
asleep
to say.
over here like you did in our I Heart Huckbees.
No, just listening, just not my style of movie. Like, I mean, I really did try to give it a chance, and then I just got to a point where I'm like, "Hey, kitty." I don't like a lot of alien movies, period, or anything involving an alien, because we have these are just thoughts that we think. or what we want them to be if aliens are real. Do I believe aliens are real? There's no way we're the only thing here. We're not the only planet that has life on it of any kind of sorts. But our renditions of what we want them to be, I hope they all end up like Roger.
You're talking from American Dad? Jesus Christ.
I do love Roger.
I hope they all end up like that. Because...
Or Paul.
Yeah.
You actually saw Paul?
Huh?
You actually saw Paul?
Which one's that?
The movie, Paul.
No.
Oh.
Sorry, I was thinking about something else.
It's a comedy about an alien named Paul.
No.
It stars Simon Pegg and Nick
I know what
Frost.
you're talking about. Yeah,
I might have seen that. All I know is I'm over I'm just over it. I'm over like, okay, well we made all these movies, so here we are 30 years later. Let's do the prequel. Like, think of something.
It needed to be revitalized.
It's easy to come up with a plan that's already been placed and just come up with the beginning of it.
The easy solution is to action-pack, throwing a bunch of guns, explosions, you're there. The hard solution, going back to 1700s, where you've got minimal weapons to use, you've got to use hunting skills, authenticity. They did it. They delivered here. So that's why I was okay with this one. But you're absolutely spot on the money for the formulas that are happening that are getting
I'm so
annoying.
over it. That's why I'm not watching a lot anymore.
Well, there's not a lot of
that's
things
why I
coming
put on
out
like
lately.
movies like did you I'm just gonna throw it out there, completely not involving this movie. Red Notice. You guys watch that?
Yeah.
I thought it was fucking hilarious.
I didn't like it.
I went into it knowing it's Ryan Reynolds. I'm gonna laugh my ass off, and I did. It was hilarious to me. Like, that's kind of where I've hit now with movies. Like I'm gonna watch Oppenheimer. I know it's gonna be heavy. I'm okay with that. But
see, to me, Oppenheimer was slow. It was dirt slow. Like, it's painfully slow, and I did not think it was that good of a movie.
I'm gonna give it a try.
No, give it a shot. You may love it, but
I
think a couple of days ago that's streaming on Paramount Plus or Peacock.
It's on Peacock.
Yeah.
I'm just looking at it's just. I'm so tired of the repeats. I'm so tired of the reboots. But in the same aspect, I just feel but it's like music. I mean,
So, to your point, and I wanted to talk about this when we did the episode for The Abyss. I feel like, and everyone talks about the golden era of Hollywood and the golden era of movies was they're talking 40s, 50s, that type era. I think it was the 80s. I think the 80s into the early 90s really kind of was the peak of what authenticity of movies was, where the actors had to put forth the effort. There wasn't the CGI. There wasn't the green screens.
I agree. And not only the actors, I think a lot of the special effects guys.
Yeah.
They had to put all this extra effort
The movie sets, the scaled models, the acting, it was actually real. Benedict Cumberbatch, we were talking about him at another episode. I watched him do his green screen acting for the dragon for one of the Hobbit movies. And his commitment to that role, I applaud him 1,000 times over. It was fucking amazing. However, green screen just isn't doing it for me like that. When we talked about The Abyss, it still stays with me. The Ed Harris scene where he's literally hitting the crap out of Lindsay, the character, and trying to revive her. That was real. That was really real. Those moments are gone. They're just not there anymore.
Well, in today's world, that whole in The Abyss, they would just CGI that whole thing. But back then, James Cameron built it. He built that underwater facility.
Yep.
And filmed it. And
now, to that point, though, since then, you see the studios have a formula. They have a formula and an agenda where they don't want to take the risks anymore and put the money out there unless it's a guaranteed thing. They want everything to appeal to a larger range of easy wins, easy formulas, rinse and repeat, and that's why you're getting sick of shit. That's why we're all getting sick of shit. Because Hollywood, we don't want a Marvel-verse. Let it go.
I'm not going to name the bands because of what we do, and I just want to be labeled a hater, but it's like when certain bands for the last 10 years have been writing the same damn songs because those are the hits. And so the whole album sounds the same, Every song sounds the same. Every movie lately for me is the same. I'm at a point now, and this is what happened to me. I watched both of these. Okay, we're filming. We've said before we do multiples in a row, so we have them blocked off so JP has time because of touring. I watched I Heart Huckabees, and then I went straight into Prey. I watched them both last night. And I will admit, and maybe it's my fault, maybe I need to suck it up, but I'm getting to a point where it's just like, seen it. Don't want to do this again. Would rather go watch reality TV and just zone out and look at my phone than to see the same script over and over and over again. Now, I understand that the Predator movies have been big movies for our generation, for our whole lives.
But rewind. Let's talk about what you just said, the reality TV series.
But here's the thing: I'm watching it to just kill time.
But it's still scripted, that,
I
right?
understand that. But I'm watching it. But I'm also not really watching it.
But
it's just there.
With those, they also play it safe and they stick to a formula. You know what I mean? So it's.
I mean, and there have been we've watched shows where Heather's looked into stuff and they told them to do. I got tattooed by Sausage from McMaster. He told me stuff. You know what I mean? I understand that, but I'm watching it more for background noise.
Yeah.
To just kind of zone out and do whatever. And when I watch a movie, I want to focus on the movie. And if I find myself picking up my phone multiple times, I shouldn't be watching this.
Well, I think that's why I anymore I go back to watching a lot of 80s and early 90s films, and it's because they were those films just work for me versus a lot of what's coming out now. There's just a lot of crap coming out now, and you're right that I don't like 98% of a lot of the stuff that's coming out right now.
But that formula that Hollywood's focused on, all it is to us is the same few movies over and over. Let's remake this over and over. Let's beat this into the ground. Let's do this because we know it'll be a quick sell. There are literally hundreds of thousands of young, independent, energetic directors and screenplay writers who are just thirsty and hungry for that moment. And the fact that Hollywood just ignoring all of that and sticking to this shit instead of taking these chances and getting back to what it matters, that frustrates me.
Well, and it should, because, you look at one of the biggest directors of our generation, Peter Jackson. You know who Peter Jackson is, I'm sure. Lord of the Rings, The Hobbit.
Never saw him.
Well, but you understand what those movies were. They got Peter Jackson to direct these films and turn into epic masterpieces in most people's eyes. I'm not a big fan of them, but most people are, and I can appreciate what he did with those films. Before Peter Jackson did those films, I was a fan of older Peter Jackson. Like, he did films like Bad Taste, Dead Alive. He ended up doing The Frighteners. He did a lot of this low budget horror films, and all of a sudden this guy was tapped out of nowhere. Nobody knew who he was. I knew who he was, but if you wasn't a follower of old school horror, like low budget horror, you had no clue who Peter Jackson was. But I remember when he was casted to do to direct Lord of the Rings, I was like, holy fuck. They're going to let Peter Jackson do Lord of the Rings? Who in the fuck thought this was a good idea? I'm here for it. I was like, this is going to be amazing. And they took a gamble on a young director, and it paid off. They're not doing that anymore. They're not giving people who have this huge vision of what can be done. They're just giving it things. They're hand picking. The same directors, the same actors, the same writers.
But it's also a business of, we like what you're doing, now do it like this. Or if you don't play ball, you're out. And it's like, well, then what'd you call me for?
Yeah.
That's like, you'll appreciate this because you're always at Universal. You'll appreciate this. Rob Zombie, his House of a Thousand Corpses, when Universal hired him to do that, they wanted to, after they saw the end result, they wanted to pull everything away from him. They wanted to give him nothing. They had his film locked. And then all of a sudden, he's at the 20-year anniversary of this thing, and he's like, I find it amazing that Universal dropped me because they thought something was too violent. And then now they've got a full ride for Halloween at their studios. So, those things, I don't know. I feel like, there might be those moments where things don't don't equate to profitability. But they got to let a lot of these movies play out because in the long run, these movies are crushing and they're becoming classics. And people,
Heather found out that just because you brought up Universal, there's going to be a haunted house this year of the new Ghostbusters movie.
I see. I can see
I actually
that.
wouldn't mind going to that.
I think in today's world, though, we're going to have a hard time 10 years from now having these great cult films that we were getting through the 80s and 90s and even early 2000s.
It's
early
it's kind of like music now. It's just once it comes out, it gets forgotten about a month later because it's not good enough to stick.
It's not even so much that as a lot of these older cult films, even from as into the early mid 2000s. They wasn't Hollywood films. A lot of them wasn't big Hollywood blockbusters. They were done by
Kevin Smith
on a lower budget, yeah. And you're not getting a lot of those type of films anymore.
Well, and to go on what you're saying, I mean, to go on the music side of things, today I put a post up. Yeah, you commented saying, I need something new. Go look at those comments. Tell me how many of them are new.
Yeah, well,
Lamb of God, Slayer. You don't think I've already heard of those? Like, I want something new.
I put some decent ones in there.
No, you did, but I'm just saying in general. Go look at it.
No, I know.
Gojira. You don't think I heard of Gojira? You don't think I listened to that?
New.
I didn't even comment because
you don't listen to anything.
I don't listen to anything anymore because it's just all the same to me.
The UK artist Ren, that first one I put, this dude, I don't think there's anything he can't do. He's just fucking unbelievably talented. Whether it's producing, rapping, writing, emotional, singing, screaming, this guy does every bit of it. And he even had, which was crazy to me, it took off on TikTok. It was an 8-minute long song about his multiple personalities and dealing with therapists. And this thing fucking blew up because it was done independently and through TikTok, not because he let somebody dictate what he was doing or what he wasn't doing. So, I don't know. Those things matter nowadays.
I'm just ready for some change in a lot of things. A lot of things media-wise.
No, I agree. I agree completely. Because... Yeah,
which is why, I mean, you guys make fun of me, but it's because that's why I've fallen down the rabbit hole of the reality TV side of things. Because it's just like you know what I watch? I watch The Traitors.
See, I can't do the reality TV other than a few. There's a couple things like I've said in the past, like Deadliest Catch and stuff like that I can watch. But
I did like River Monsters. Not gonna lie.
But a lot of that is just I just can't stand it. It annoys me. And what gets played at my house constantly is these godforsaken serial killer documentaries and shows and like
I think we all have the crazy ladies who
forensic files. And now, don't get me wrong,
I like First 48.
Yeah, First 48's played all the time. And don't get me wrong, like when this stuff was first being played in my house, like it was fine. I get it. I would get into it.
After a while, it all becomes the same shit.
It's the same fucking thing.
Literally the same formula. Every time.
It's all it gets played here, and it annoys me to the point that I want to gouge my eyes out.
So we were talking about the ghost hunting thing earlier, right? And so Ghost Hunters, when that first came out, was my big eye-opening, this is fucking annoying. Because literally every episode, it started off with a cool premise, cool story of what they were investigating, why they're investigating it. They would go on site, do the investigation. All they would get out of every episode is, what was that? Did you hear that? What was that? Oh my gosh, something shook. I felt a cold spot. It was always the same things over and over without
3 episodes,
anything.
you've seen them all.
Right, nothing definitive ever. No solutions, no resolution, nothing. And so that starts to weigh on you a little bit. It's like, why am I wasting my time if I'm not seeing anything out of this? To me, at least.
As a non-Predator watcher, that's how I felt about this movie.
That's fair.
Well, and like I said, I chose this because I felt like this was a movie I loved that you would never watch that I thought maybe you would enjoy.
Appreciate it.
Especially because I know you like stuff like John Wick and things like that, and this is more of an action
John Wick's
film.
more realistic.
I really feel like he needs to see the first Predator. If you saw the first Predator, you'd be a little more vested.
Yeah.
But without seeing that first Predator, just to jump in with this, it's a hard watch. I get it. It's fair.
And
you want to know what I really thought right away? I already saw Dances with Wolves.
But there's no white guy in this one, except, well, I guess the French traders. I guess that, yeah.
All right. Go ahead. What's your score?
I want to go last.
You can't go last. It's his movie.
I'll do what I want.
It's my movie.
I give it a 2.
What?
I give it a 2. 2.5, maybe.
Wow. The rest of the world would
0.73.
disagree.
I didn't say 0.2.
I sincerely love Predator franchise. I'm vested in it. I think it's
Whoa.
great. I like the firsts for this one, as far as the inclusion within the native aspect and giving some props to indigenous people. I like all aspects of that. So I went a little higher on this one. I went 3.7. 3.7 nerds.
See, I'm going to rate this one probably the highest I've rated a movie yet.
Whoa.
Yeah, because I generally love this film. I'm going to give it a 4.3.
You've rated higher.
No, I haven't.
You haven't?
Mm-mm.
I thought you did. You went pretty high for Die Hard, because I did a 5 on Die Hard.
Yeah, no, I didn't go into the. I think I was like a 3.8 or 9 or.
Oh, okay. 4.3. All right.
And obviously, I didn't ever look up the budget on this.
65 million.
65 million. There is no box office because, unfortunately, and this is one
It's
thing.
the streaming.
Yeah,
It's
unfortunately,
really hard to tell how good a movie is actually doing when it just goes to streaming and there's no way to know.
well, this is one thing I wanted to say about this is this movie went straight to streaming, and I think that did this movie a major injustice. This movie is beautiful. The shots of this movie are beautiful, and this I would have done anything to have seen this movie in the theater.
So, my hope is that when Hulu does a sequel to this, leading up to the release of that, they do a theatrical for this.
Do a re-release.
I would like to see that at least. So,
Yeah.
I hope it happens for you.
and me too. Because I'll tell you what, the fucking the rope acts coming back and forth in the movies would fucking
The bear.
it'd be
See the
so
bear
good.
on
Oh
the
my
big
God.
screen.
just up in the air with the blood everywhere. Yeah, that'd be great. It's a great spot.
No.
Yeah. And I'm going to take James with me.
I don't know how you plan on getting me there.
They won't even watch the movie. These two will be in the back, the darkest corner they can find.
Eating my popcorn.
Is that what you're going to be eating?
The
Okay.
popcorn trick. It's the popcorn trick.
Eating his gummies.
You do the popcorn tricks. I'll have the Pringles can. We'll be all right. The short one.
I was about to say that.
I beat you to it, fucker, because I knew.
Well, it's another episode, I guess. Where are they finding us?
They are finding us at... No, let's rewind. They're going to email us at 3cinenerds@gmail.com. Any requests, any commentary, anything you want to email us or have questions about, please do. Outside of that, if you want to listen to the podcast or you want to find whatever your favorite podcast streaming service is, please go to our Facebook page in the bio, and you can click that as well as our merch link.
Give us a like, share, comment,
Smash that thumbs up. Smash that like.
subscribe,
Share.
invite your friends to our page, to YouTube. One thing I've been forgetting to tell you guys, go to Spotify, go to Apple, leave a review. Please, leave us a review. All these little things you can do is just share, leave a review, comment. It helps out, helps bring other people in. And we want to let this thing grow, so please help us grow it.
I dig it.
See you next week.
CineNerds out.
Later.